Welcome and thanks for joining this session on the importance of international trade. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore why trade matters globally, how it evolved, who the main players are, and the benefits and challenges nations face when trading across borders. Let's begin by building a clear foundation for what international trade really means. This slide outlines our roadmap. We'll start with an introduction to international trade, then examine its economic benefits, different trade types, and common challenges before looking at key drivers and real-world case studies. Think of this as the map for our discussion so you know what to expect in each section. To start, let's define international trade in everyday terms. It's the buying and selling of goods and services across borders, which includes everything from manufactured products to tourism and finance. More than transactions, trade creates economic links between countries, shaping how nations depend on each other for resources, markets, and expertise. Looking back helps us understand the present. Ancient routes like the Silk Road opened early global exchanges. The Industrial Revolution massively increased production and shipping, and modern institutions and agreements have formalized rules that enable today's trade networks. These historical shifts set the stage for how global trade operates now. When we talk about who drives trade, we mean exporting nations that specialize in certain industries, multinational corporations that produce and sell worldwide, and international organizations that create rules and stability. Together, these players shape flows of goods, investments, and policies that determine how trade benefits or challenges different countries. This transition brings us to economic benefits, where trade can boost national output, create jobs, and improve efficiency. Later slides will unpack these advantages in more detail, showing how access to larger markets and foreign investment directly influences a country's growth and competitiveness. Trade can expand GDP by opening new markets and encouraging specialization that raises productivity, giving firms room to scale and innovate. Access to diverse markets also reduces dependence on local demand, while comparative advantage helps countries focus on industries where they perform best, driving overall economic growth. International trade often leads to job creation across industries, from manufacturing to services, as exporters ramp up production to meet global demand. Workers gain new skills through international standards and training, and trade partnerships can attract investments that open up employment opportunities in emerging sectors. Opening trade channels also brings foreign capital, which funds business expansion and infrastructure, and enables technological transfer as firms collaborate across borders. These investments strengthen financial systems and help economies modernize, supporting long-term development and competitiveness in global markets. Now let's look at types of trade and why the distinctions matter in practice. From imports and exports to trade agreements and fair trade initiatives. Understanding these categories helps explain policy choices and how nations balance domestic priorities with global engagement. Imports give countries access to resources and products they lack, while exports support domestic industries and generate foreign revenue, and the balance between them affects economic stability. Managing deficits or surpluses is crucial for healthy trade relationships and long-term growth, so nations carefully strategize what to import and what to promote for export. Trade agreements can be bilateral, linking two countries directly, or multilateral, involving many nations under common rules. Bilateral deals often remove barriers to deepen ties, while multilateral frameworks aim to standardize regulations and help developing economies access broader markets, balancing national interests with global cooperation. Free trade removes tariffs and quotas to enable more competition and lower prices, while fair trade emphasizes ethical standards, protecting producers and workers in developing regions. Both approaches aim to benefit consumers and industries, but they differ in priorities, maximizing market access versus ensuring equitable, sustainable practices. Challenges are part of the picture. Trade barriers, currency risks, and protectionist policies can all undermine the benefits of openness. In this section, we'll explore how these issues arise and what they mean for businesses and governments navigating global commerce. Tariffs and quotas raise import costs and can disrupt supply chains, making goods less competitive and creating shortages or inefficiencies. These measures often protect short-term domestic interests, but can increase consumer prices and reduce overall productivity. So policymakers must weigh trade-offs carefully. Currency volatility makes international deals unpredictable, affecting pricing and profits, and companies often need financial hedging to manage these risks. Large currency shifts can also change a country's export competitiveness, so businesses and governments monitor exchange rates closely to maintain stable trade relationships. Protectionist policies and economic sanctions can limit market access and escalate diplomatic tensions, sometimes harming both targeted and imposing economies. Reduced foreign competition may also lower incentives to innovate, which over time can weaken domestic industries rather than strengthen them. Next, we'll consider the main forces driving trade today, such as globalization, technology, specialization, and consumer demand, and how they interact to shape opportunities for businesses of all sizes. Understanding these drivers helps explain why trade patterns change over time. Advances in transport and communication have made cross-border trade faster and cheaper, while e-commerce platforms let small businesses reach global customers. At the same time, knowledge sharing accelerates innovation, so connectivity and digital tools are central to modern trade expansion. Comparative advantage encourages countries to specialize where they're most efficient, improving overall quality and resource use. This specialization deepens economic interdependence, but also creates opportunities for higher value production and stronger trade relationships across industries. Access to international markets gives consumers a wider range of products and often lowers prices through competition, while businesses benefit from new demand and growth opportunities. Expanded market reach can boost sales, create jobs, and provide consumers with more choices and better value. Now let's look at some real-world cases to see these concepts in action and learn practical lessons from recent trade relationships and agreements. Case studies help translate theory into outcomes and highlight both benefits and unintended consequences. The US-China relationship shows how deep economic interdependence can coexist with trade tensions over tariffs and intellectual property, affecting everything from electronic supply chains to agricultural exports. This complex partnership underlines how trade policies can shape global industry dynamics. NAFTA and its successor, the USMCA, dramatically increased trade in North America, supporting industries like automotive and agriculture, while also contributing to job shifts and calls for stronger labor and environmental standards. This example illustrates how trade agreements create winners and losers, and why updates matter. The European Union's trade role shows how regional integration can lower internal barriers, negotiate external deals, and promote stability among members. By pooling markets, the EU expands reach for member states while using unified policies to support cooperation and conflict reduction in trade matters. We've covered definitions, history, benefits, challenges, drivers, and real-world examples. And I hope these insights help you better understand how global trade shapes economies and everyday life. Thank you for following this overview of international trade. Thanks for watching, and feel free to revisit any section for a deeper dive.